All right, back after a long hiatus here. Been a busy summer, but back in March I picked up my first new vehicle. This is a 2024 Bronco Black Diamond, 4-door obviously. We had to go with a hard top, and you know we had to go with the manual transmission. This was the only spec that I wanted, the black on black with the manual with a hard top. Is exactly what I wanted. So the story behind it is, back in February when I started looking, I saw that Ford had taken the manual option off the building price. I don't know if that means they meant that they weren't gonna offer them on building price. That led me to go into a dealership and see what was going on, and the dealership told me, they showed me this form that said they were not going to get an allotment of manuals. So they were going to let me test drive an automatic. At that time I had no interest in an automatic. So obviously the dealer's choice on transmission, but I had to have the manual. So they were kind of giving me a runaround, saying they could get their hands on one, but I'd have to essentially do the transaction. I wasn't going to do the transaction without test driving it. So, and they wouldn't tell me where it was, obviously, because they wanted to get the sale. So I started cold calling and found out where the vehicle was, and so I drove about an hour away, and apparently it was the only one within 300 miles of my location in this spec. So I drove it. I did a little more research, and they kind of confirmed that manuals were going to be tough to come by. Automatics, not so much. And yeah, I don't know if that situation has changed since March. I kind of made my bed and went for it. So yeah, it's I think they had just raised the prices on them, so I think, unfortunately, but the time was right for me to get my first new vehicle. So they were able to play a little bit of ball, but so I got like $1 or $2 grand off MSRP. So I didn't do any earth-shattering deals, but it was the right vehicle at the right time. So what was I looking for? I was looking for an SUV with a manual transmission, if I could find one. That kind of is a very small market. You're really looking at the used market in most situations. I've always been intrigued by the Nissan Xterra, especially the Pro 4X. You're getting a pretty old platform if you do that, but I think those are awesome. A lot of those by me, I'm in upstate New York, are pretty rusted out. You're looking at pretty much as soon as you get into one of those, you're going to be looking at O2 sensors, maybe a full exhaust pretty soon. But that 4.0 Nissan motor is great from Nissan, so that would have been a great option. I was in this situation where it was the right time, right vehicle, right availability, and we went for it. So I think other options that I was considering was the Subaru Outback with a manual. You're looking at the used space with that, and then you're kind of doing the Subaru thing, take or leave that experience. But I think those are great too. So why am I looking for bigger vehicles? Well, I'm always, my activities mostly include, skiing, biking, a little fishing. So having the utility and cargo space, I was really looking forward to, being able to fit my full-size XL mountain bike in the back with the rear seats down was really something that I was looking for, as opposed to messing around every time with a bike hitch rack or a bike roof rack. And so you're looking at, let's see, Xterra, Subaru. I mean, you could do the CX-5, but then you're limited to front wheel drive, and I think they only made those with a manual for like a small amount of time. There's not many other options as far as SUVs with a manual, so I decided to go for it, and so far I'm loving it. Did not get the Sasquatch package. A lot of my activities are a lot of to the trails, like hiking and biking, not so much on the trails. Obviously this vehicle has that capability, but that's not in my repertoire at this time. So what do we got on this this Bronco? Well, it came with the HD modular. That was awesome that it came with that. You know, we can mount up a whole slew of different things to this. The dealership wanted to drill into my grill to mount the front license plate. I was like, yeah, no, Pasadena on that. So I did the DV8 front license plate relocation, just the rag there, so you don't need to see my plate. What else did we do? IAG front mud flaps, the obligatory paracord grab handles, and then just the draw tight rear hitch receiver. The reason I really like that one is because it clears a spare tire with an upright bike mount. So if you're riding more than one bike, I just throw the bike rack on, and that sticks out like that. Kind of looks silly, but it makes it really accessible, which I really like. And somehow that one, even with the extension, even being extended, I should say, it's not an extension, it has a greater weight capacity for some reason. I don't really understand that, but obviously cheaper than the Ford option, so we went for it. Yeah, I'm not like a convertible type of guy, so I didn't know how I was gonna like this experience, but so far I'm really liking it, and this is how I like it. I like the doors off. I never realized how much of a pain it was to open your car door until you ride something like this. Like, it's so nice to just get in. I really like having the front two roof panels on. It kind of creates, you know, you kind of get the shade, and like the vehicle doesn't get quite as like sun baked, but at the same time you still have that open air experience. You know, it gets at highway speed, it's a little bit exhausting. You're not going to be going super fast at highway speed, but it is super fun. What else? Plans. Shoot. I mean, you're kind of looking at it. It's going to be minor modifications. You know, other activities. I'm new homeowner, so having the SUV is great for all the home and landscape projects. I've already moved probably like 4 loads, probably like 800 pounds per load of pavers in the back of this, and it obviously took it like a champ. You know, a body on frame SUV, that's kind of nothing for it. And actually like squatted out the suspension a little bit and felt great, and somehow my mile per gallon went up when I was hauling all those pavers. Kind of strange. I did my first oil change on it. I did it at like 1200. I think we're at 1300 miles right now, and it's a really crappy location. It's kind of like straight through this wheel well here, but it's a crappy location, but it is nice that you don't have to jack the vehicle up to do an oil change, which I appreciate. Other things, the only thing I would and I don't even know what spec includes it. I do not have that 4A, that blank on the selector. So kind of in like the summer months, or in the winter months I should say, I might be like knocking between 2 high and 4 high, whereas it would probably have been nice to have that 4 auto. I don't know what trims that 4 auto comes on. It's kind of like your all-wheel drive equivalent, but that probably would have been pretty nice to have, but wasn't available when the time was right for me. And you know, I wasn't gonna walk away from this opportunity. And the Corolla served me great, and I never had a gripe with it. It was just a time with my upcoming house projects. You know, I've already pulled the U-Haul trailers, the whole 9. It was time. So really enjoying it. We will take it for a quick spin here, and so you can experience it at low speeds. Obviously at high speeds it'd be pretty useless with the doors off. All right, setting off in the Bronco. So it's reading at 20 miles per gallon. I'm not sure if that's accurate or not. Regardless, I'm not asking this vehicle to be a MPG getter. So we're at like a little bit of a decline here. We will knock it into crawl. We will come off the clutch slowly, release the brake, and without touching the gas, it juts forward, which is kind of cool. I find myself using this crawl gear quite a bit in you know, really slow traffic, climbing steep grades. You know, I'm not an off-roader, but I do find it to be really helpful for any time I need to make a very slow speed move. So it's not just an off-road gear in my opinion. So but yeah, I think some people had said that the gearbox is kind of a long throw. I have not. I mean, I don't think it's a long throw, and if it is a long throw, it's at least it's notchy, and you know, I'm really liking it. I mean, obviously, you know, I drive my Integra a lot too, and love having that for, you know, my quicker trips and, you know, more fun spirited driving. But being able to have a manual and an SUV is totally awesome in my opinion. But yeah, just loving having the open air experience. This is just a park by my house. I think it's super fun. I'm not the convertible type of person, and you know, you can see I got the roof on here. I'm not the convertible type of person, but this is a really cool vibe. You know, you got to get comfortable with the lack of security aspect of it, and I'm sure it'll burn me at some point. But you know, for now, I've been really liking it. It's one of those things you just got to have like my car is empty, you know. It's I got the registration locked, and everything else comes with you when you leave the vehicle. So and obviously in the winter, you're in fall, winter, a lot of spring, you're locked down anyway. But I think it's so cool to be able to hang the foot out. Like I think you can do like some foot pegs down there. Yeah, I just really enjoy driving around. Like my wife and I have done like a bunch of hikes in this already, going to a lot of trails, and it's so nice when you get done with a hike or a bike ride just to have like the open air. Really makes it a nice vibe, and I mean, it kind of is like, it's like a side-by-side for the road is like how it feels to me. Get it going a little bit. Yeah, I mean, I really don't drive this thing at, you know, insane speeds. It's really a lot of the speed limit with it, and I think that's kind of a nice vibe that it's like that. It's creates a fun experience at legal limits, which is really cool. So we'll go straight here. I mean, I don't know, maybe it is a long throw, and I've just been driving old cars too much. I'm not sure if you can hear a bunch of this because it's a little breezy, and you know, we are at slow speed, but even still. But yeah, thanks for tuning in, and stay tuned for some light Bronco content. Again, not going to be at this time, not on trail stuff, but it's a lot of to the trail stuff and those associated mods. Going to be pulling U-Hauls, taking bikes all over the place, and you know, enjoying hikes out and about. But I hope you all are having an awesome summer, and get outdoors and enjoy it. Be well.